Meeting to order. Call the meeting to order. Old business, there is none right now. New business. Resolution 24-2, a resolution of the city of Binghamton Water Street Development Corporation authorizing the president to sign a change order to the contract with United Pike JV LLC related to the Water Street parking ramp project.
Well, and I'll elaborate off of this, the city or Water Street Development had a contract with Pike United Joint Ventures to develop the project, and they were going to do the construction administration and work on getting everything taken care of for us, being like the management part of that. When the housing unit came to a halt, I negotiated with all the parties to put an end to the project as Water Street Development and move it back to the city. That took United Pike Joint Venture out of the mix. Part of the contract that we had with them is if we were to cancel the contract, there was a $200,000 termination fee. That was part of the original contract we signed as Water Street Development.
That's been paid.
That was paid at the end of December for the contract. And this is just going through cleaning up. I'm trying to go through and clean up everything on Water Street Development. This was a change order that had not been completed. We did one for Pike Construction in either January or December. This is for the joint venture side of it, reducing their total contract, which I think was originally $800,000 down to $600,000. We do not owe them any money back. But everything's cleared up now. I don't know if anybody has any questions on that.
Yeah, I do. I was been trying to catch up with everything that's happened, so I watched the last meeting. And what was I think it was $1.3 million, and I thought that was being part of a termination fee or termination of the contract. Was that
This
is separate from that? Or
Yes,
is
that was Pike Construction. Okay, we had United Pike Joint Venture. They were the group that were building the garage and building the housing unit. Okay, United was gonna build the housing, Pike was gonna do the construction, but there was a joint venture that did the development of the whole thing from day one. They're the ones that came in, when was it, 2020?
Yeah.
And they made a presentation along with two other firms of what they might want to do. So we were paying them, the joint venture, to develop the land, and Pike Construction to construct the garage. The 1.3 million that we paid out to them was the Pike Construction, not the Pike United joint venture. Okay, this is a
separate termination
Yes.
fee.
We had, I believe, two contracts in place. Actually, we had three. We had one with the engineering firm CJS, one with Pike United joint venture, and one with Pike Construction. All three of them are the engineers, which is CJS, was transferred over to the city. Pike Construction has been closed out with a change order and everything paid off per the contract. And this is just closing out the joint venture side of it. Then Water Street is done with the exception of, I have three bills left to pay. I have one for the audit, which is gonna be about $4,500. I have one for the engineers of one for, I think it's $4,718, and another, I think is $40,188. I'm still waiting for those invoices to be paid, but that will be all we have to do for Water Street Development.
Then the Water Street Development is what, terminated?
I
Or
believe,
sidelined? What do you-
I believe Mayor Cram wants to shut down the Water Street Development Corp. So once we get all the bills paid and I should have the fiscal audit for 23 done here by the end of, I'm gonna say next week. Okay, I got a preliminary draft today. I'll go through that. Once that is done, we can then go through the process of closing it out, which would mean another audit up to that point, and then going through the state to close it out. I think you have to go to New York's, what is it? It's part of New York State, can't.
Department of State or?
Yeah, Department of
Yeah.
State to close it out, and also doing final finalizing with, yeah, what's the thing that you guys put the date in,
Paris.
Paris. Those would be the last two steps, I believe. And everything would be taken care of and off the books. So that's resolution 24-2.
Any discussion, any questions of Chuck or? So can we have a motion to accept,
Second,
all in favor,
Aye.
opposed? Okay. Now, who signs this? Do I sign this? Or does the secretary sign
it
this?
says the president.
So you will sign the agreement. And the secretary will sign the resolution.
Okay, very good. Resolution 24-3. A resolution of the city of Binghamton Water Street Development Corporation authorizing the return of funds related to the Water Street parking ramp project to the city of Binghamton.
What this is, if you go to the resolution, there's $2,302,661.07. What will be left in the account after I paid the three bills that I mentioned, everybody. That needs to go back to the city because that's where the money originally came for. And that's to be used on the parking garage and will go back to be used on the parking garage at the city's building. The one question that I had that I thought about as I'm talking to you guys here today is I probably should subtract $4,000 from this amount because we're gonna have to pay the auditors to do a second audit this year.
Burning money.
So I think we should probably do a modification to this and subtract $4,000 from this $2,302,000.
So function for that, or-
I think we probably do, right?
Yeah, and then a motion to approve as amended.
Yeah.
So the new total would be,
Be $2,298,661.07.
I'll make the motion to reduce it by 4,000.
Second.
All in favor,
Aye.
opposed? So passed.
So Ron, I think what we have to do now is do a motion to approve it as amended, but before we do, I don't know. Nate, do you have any questions on this?
This have to go through city council after it, right?
It does not.
Okay, so,
It will just go straight back to the account that it came from.
okay,
And it will be used as part of that project that's over there now, or the other money. We have two sets of money. We have the bond money and then we had the original $7 million worth of the reserve money. It would go back into that 7 million. Well, originally, the 7 million came from the city reserves into Water Street development, okay? We're putting that 2.3 back into the Water Street project.
Okay, who's building the garage now?
Right now, the garage is, well, let's get this thing done and we can have a
Okay.
discussion about that.
all right, so is there a motion to approve the resolution as amended? And to be clear, the amendments would be in paragraphs 2 and 6. The amended number subtracting the 4,000.
I'll make a
Second.
motion.
We're there.
We did. Okay.
All approve,
Aye.
opposed,
So
so
we're,
passed, as amended.
so where we stand on the parking garage right now, Chris, is that the foundations, all the piles that are going in, that's, I don't know if you've been over there, you see those long rebar things being pounded in. They gotta be driven down into bedrock, okay? I believe they finished that yesterday. Okay, there was about 4 problems, okay, in that thing, like when we did a geotech study to try to see where it was, how far each thing was down to bedrock. There's two places in the middle that they never reached bedrock, okay? There was something in the ground not allowing it to go there. So we had to redesign that pile, I'll call it, okay? so that they can move things around and still hold all the weight. And, Lane Construction, a local firm, has been doing that. They did it through Pike Construction before they were doing it, and they won the bid to continue doing it, okay? And they finished up yesterday doing the pile driving, and now you'll start seeing them put, they got these big cages of rebar that will go over the piles, and that will be like a pile cap that they're putting on right now. Okay, they've done some of them, but that should be finished up here fairly shortly. Okay, I'm gonna guess within 2 to 3 weeks, they'll have all that taken care of. We have the remaining demolition above the Boscov's garage. Okay, we couldn't take off everything when we did the original demolition because that's the roof for the men's store.
Excuse me, sorry,
So
call you later.
we had to come back and we finished up that demolition. That I believe is 95% complete. Okay, that was done by Corp Construction. There's a firm, Weathermaster, who is putting on a new membrane roof, okay, which will have like a little padding above the roof itself is actually the old second floor parking lot. Okay, and there's a lot of drainage problems there. They're putting on a new roof. That should be gone, hopefully that's done by the 15th of March. Okay, if you were to go over there, you may start seeing it in warm weather. Any day that it's over 40 degrees, they can start putting it down. They're putting new drains. There's a lot of problems with the drains over there. Sometimes somebody in the past had filled them. Okay, so water was leaking around. They're all being tested right now by, not all phase, Evans Mechanical. Okay, they're running water into them and we're checking to see if the water leaks into the Boscov store. Okay, if they're leaking inside the store, we're gonna fix it. Okay, hopefully they don't. We're thinking the water comes from someplace else. Boscov's in the meantime is gonna start redoing the men's store, like the roof or their ceiling. Okay, but they're gonna hopefully hold off until we get all this stuff done. And then when we did the demolition, we had to take down cooling towers. We're putting new ones up. That won't happen till like April 1st. And the loading dock, I don't know if anyone's been over there, but in the backside on Center Street, when we took off the demo, like some of the rooftops of that thing, the loading docks came up in the air. Okay, so we have to fix that, which is gonna be digging down a little bit, putting in a footer into the ground and then building up to where it was. Understand that stuff was on there since when, 65, 70, okay, and as that stuff came up, it just, some other headaches. What was me we were talking about this morning about change orders? That's the change order we have. And then we should be going out to bid within 2 weeks for the electrical, the general contractor. What else we got in there? Some HVAC stuff, I think. That should be going out to bid, I'm gonna say 2 to 3 weeks. We also signed a contract with Unistress, who is the precaster, and they're set to come in here on April 1st and start building out. Once the foundation is all done, you're gonna start seeing the same type of thing that you saw over here at Holly Street, where the trucks will come and they'll take so many layers. They're being built right now in Massachusetts. And they're being stored up there. And that's gonna start April 1st, and they expect to have that, I'm gonna say, late July, late August time period, that part done. So you'll see come April to August, that whole building be up. And then after that, we'll be cleaning all the stuff up, sealing everything and with the electrical and all that type of stuff. I don't know if that answers your question.
Very good.
Hey, you got any questions on that?
Did the roof already get approved? That you said it's like the foam and membrane.
Yeah, those. It's,
I've had bad experiences with that type of roofing, but that's just me. Maybe it's better now.
there was different aspects and discussion on it. and I can't say that I know anything about it, but, um. And actually, the, final decision was made by our engineering department and weathermaster, what the engineers wanted. The, weathermaster didn't necessarily agree with that. And after, let's say, a couple days of heated discussion, what's going up there is what our engineering department thinks is the right stuff to go up there. I'm with you.
If it works.
Is everything being built like for future development, for instance, like the elevator where it can continue to. Or the top floor where it will hold the weight for apartments in case you ever.
Yes,
The podium.
Yeah. it's still gonna be, nothing's gonna be built up top, but it's being built that it could
It could
hold.
hold, it could
Yeah.
hold.
Yes.
Okay.
And there's gonna be one elevator put in, but there's gonna be another elevator shaft that if, the one elevator here is gonna only go up 5 floors, the length of the thing, okay? The other one is gonna just have the shaft in there, it's gonna be empty.
Yeah.
That if we build the housing, that could go up to 10 floors, okay?
Yeah.
This one could also go up to 10 floors, we just have to change out the elevator at the time. And also on the second floor of the garage, you can walk out above the men's store, okay? And walk into Boscov's. The second, there'll be a walkway. They won't be walking on the roof. There's gonna be a special walkway built from the garage right to that.
Sure, that would make Boscov's happy. They were interested in having that.
And, we're working on getting the system that will work over there. The current system that we have at 7 Holly Street, I don't think will answer all the questions we need for validation of Boscov's. And I'm working with another firm that has. If you go over to this parking garage, you put paper in, okay, a lot of times it jams up, the dollars jam up, okay? There's new systems out there where you just scan it to the screen itself. Okay, and it's actually the same price. So you have your ticket and you can either pay for it on a booth before with cash, or you can pay credit card as you're going out. Okay, you can't pay cash at the going out because that's what always causes the problems. The cash gets jammed through the things. So you can, but if you have a validation from Boscov's, you can show that validation. And if it's within the time period, I think it's 3 hours from being there, the gate will open. So we're working on trying to finalize all that.
Is there a chance of doing a validation program for businesses like ours that would be happy to participate?
For what we're looking at, I believe the answer to your question, Ron, is yes, at that garage. It's not the same system we have at Holly Street.
I understand it.
And at Holly Street, I would say when we originally did the RFP, we probably messed up a little bit. And I'm able to buy some of these systems now through state contracts. Okay, at the time that wasn't available. So we put out the specs and the low bidder came in and we didn't get the best system. We have to live with what we have for right now. But the ones that we're looking at now do have what they call co-op agreements or state contracts that we can use to procure the stuff.
We can consolidate though. We can have the ones doing Water Street and Holly Street. We can get them synced.
We could down the road with some money. We can't do it. Like Carl will be able to control all the monthly parkers on one system, but having the same validation system at 7 Holly won't match up with Boscov's today with the Water Street rail. And the first floor, as you remember, is all gonna be like what we're gonna call retail parking. Okay, where there's gonna be no monthly parkers there, so all the restaurants, Boscov's will be like 60 spots there where people could drive in and out all day long. If you take it that someone's there for 2 hours, okay, from 10 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night, that gives you 60 times 12. That's a lot of cars. So. I don't know if anybody else has any questions.
Anybody want to appoint a secretary?
I think we better do that, right? So,
Yes, yeah, are we done with the update?
Yep.
Any questions for Chuck?
So we have to make a motion for someone to be the secretary?
Yeah, I didn't want to step on Ron's toes, but,
I'd like to see
motion to,
Rich
appoint a
would be-
secretary.
motion. Okay. I nominate Rich David. Just his knowledge of this project, I mean, you're the one that started the project. Is worthy of him.
I'll second that motion.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Wouldn't you like that? Running in all
Happy to
opposition?
do it.
RC David,
Alright.
secretary.
Just, before we go, we don't have anything else on the agenda, right? So I think just, for the public record, I would like to, highlight, the Pike Company and, as we've now voted to, give them the termination fee. One of the things that's important for cities like Binghamton, is to be a business friendly city, to attract companies and investors and, contractors, et cetera, from outside of our borders, in our region, to do business, in the city. And Pike has a great track record in the city of Binghamton, having already worked with the city to do the 7 Holly Street project. It was a great project proposal for the mixed use, parking garage project. And, I've voiced my concerns in the past about, what happened, and I don't need to reiterate those, but I just think it's important for the city government in general, the current administration and, city council, that to be conscious of the message that is being sent to, the business community locally and outside of our borders, when people from outside of Binghamton, make the decision to choose to try to do a project here, and are treated very poorly, which, is the case of the representatives from the Pike Company and the United Company at one of the meetings at the school district, when, they are pretty much told, don't ever come back to our community, or, you'll be sorry, or comments that are kind of similar to that. I don't know if that it was an exact quote, but similar sentiments, doesn't send a very good message to the business community about, whether or not they should take a risk. And it is a risk when you're talking about some economically depressed areas of New York State. So, Pike has taken, multiple risks. I'm glad that this has been resolved in a way that that is acceptable to, the city and to Pike. They're an international company. They do projects significantly larger and more complex than the ones that they were trying to do in Binghamton, with very large degrees of success. And so I just think that, I'd like to say that I enjoyed working with Pike. I'm grateful for the fact that they tried to do a project, in the city of Binghamton. It's unfortunate that it didn't work out, and that we lost the chance to get a significant amount of tax revenue in a parcel that has been tax exempt for I don't even know how many decades.
Ever, really.
Right, I mean, there's been a parking garage there for at least, I think, 40 or 50 years, so at least half of a century, there's been no, while there may have been parking revenue that have been coming in, there was no parking revenue, tax revenue, people living there, spending additional income, downtown. So that is a loss for the city, the county, the school district, as each municipal entity struggles on an annual basis to try to either cut taxes or hold the line on taxes or do minimal tax increases at a time when inflation is through the roof, gas prices continue to fluctuate. And all of this has, takes a toll on residents in a city where, you know, a third of the people live at the poverty line, half of all children in the city, you know, live in poverty. So, you know, it's, there's a ripple effect. So, you know, as, you know, we, the board, we, the city, you know, move forward, I think we just need to, you know, be cautious of the message that, you know, these sorts of projects, you know, when things like this happen, the message that's being sent, because I know that I've talked to myself, other companies that, you know, locally, and outside, that saw exactly kind of what transpired here, and, you know, may or may not choose to make major investments, you know, in the city of Binghamton, because it does not appear, like, after seeing what some of the folks from Pike and United went through, and there are other cities that want to roll out the red carpet and truly be pro-business communities. There are other places that, you know, companies and investors and firms can take their money. So I think just to be conscious kind of moving forward that, you know, maybe we don't want to threaten people that want to invest in our community, that maybe that doesn't send the best message moving forward. So, but I want to thank the folks from Pike and United for wanting to invest in the city, and I wish them, you know, best of luck in their future projects.
All right,
Anything else?
I've got a few questions. I've got a few questions, like I read through the bylaws and they makes a reference to the mission statement. I think one of the other documents about, I don't know, there's another one in here that makes a reference to the mission statement, but then I couldn't find the mission statement for the actual Water Street Development Corporation in writing anywhere.
I think we got that someplace, isn't it?
I mean, it must be somewhere, yes, I'll figure out. I'm sure it's in our Paris documentation, which is all on our website. I can comb through it quickly and see if I can find it.
And then the other thing that I saw was,
The other thing
Yeah.
that I think the mission statement is, okay, and I only know this because I was reading part of the audit this morning. If you look at the last year's audit, there should be like a blurb in there about the company. I think that's pretty much was the mission statement, but I'll try to find exactly what we did with the when we incorporated, because I think we did have to put that out there.
Oh, you're right, it must be on the incorporation.
my other thing was in the bylaws, you have a ethics officer. It's on like a 3-month rotating schedule. Who's the ethics officer right now? Or have we never appointed one?
I don't remember that we did.
That we did, we can verify that.
Oh, I got it.
All right, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
You